Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And in an extraordinary development, but, quite predictable, the Minister for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, has no idea why the COVID-19 pandemic was declared a national disaster. Don't believe me? Well, let me unpack this for you. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma does not have the reasons why the COVID-19 pandemic was declared a national disaster available. She can't even speak about why it happened. She can't even verbalize it. The scientific rationale relied on to ban the sale of tobacco products is also not available, nor the reason why alcohol sales are allowed under Level 3 lockdown. This according to Dlamini Zuma's recent written replies to questions posed by opposition members of parliament, which was published this week. DAMP Gazelle Opperman asked her, what are the reasons that informed the decision to declare COVID-19 a national disaster instead of a provincial or local disaster, and what data was used to classify the disaster in terms of the Disaster Management Act 57 of 2002. Dlamini Zuma's full response read, this is the full response. The reasons that informed the decision to declare COVID-19 a national disaster will be submitted to the Honourable Member as soon as the detailed information is available. Thank you. That's it. What she's actually saying is she's got to go and quickly run around and talk to people to make up some load of crap. DAMP Zakele Mbele asked, with reference to her assertion that the sale and use of tobacco products is associated with increased risk of the spread of SARS or COVID-2, which she used to justify the prohibition of tobacco product sales, what is the scientific rationale and empirical basis for the prohibition, whether she and or her department assessed the countervailing hypothesis that nicotine actually minimizes the risk of SARS-CoV-2 infection, as suggested by data showing a disproportionate underrepresentation of habitual smokers in infection cases? If not, why not? If so, what conclusions have been drawn in this regard? Guess what? He received exactly the same response as Opperman. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma wrote, the information requested by the Honourable Member is not readily available in the department. The information will be submitted to the Honourable Member as soon as it's available. Thank you. Now, wouldn't that make a lovely little rap song? Just that statement. BS. That's what the song should be called. Anyway, let's continue. This is not the first time Dlamini Zuma dodged a written question about the controversial tobacco ban. Last month, DAMP Dean McPherson asked her in a written question for information on the public submissions her department had received and relied on to make changes to the regulations when the lockdown was lowered to Level 4. Dlamini Zuma's answer read, the information requested by the Honourable Member is not readily available in the department. The information will be submitted to the Honourable Member as soon as it is available. This is the woman who's heading up the NCC that is basically running South Africa right now. Yeah, Ramaphosa is a lame duck president. While Dlamini Zuma's department appears not to have the information available when opposition MPs ask for it, they have managed to find it when she filed responding papers to the legal challenges against the regulations, including the cigarette ban. On the 29th of April, she shocked the country, especially smokers, when she announced the cigarette sales ban would remain in place until Level 4 or during Level 4 of the lockdown. This days after President Cyril Ramaphosa said cigarette sales would be allowed on that level. Dlamini Zuma said the cabinet had decided to rescind its decision to allow for the sale of cigarettes after it considered 2,000 public submissions supporting the ban. And we know what a load of crap that was, because those submissions were lodged in the court and 90% of them were BS, totally unrelated to the subject. Anyway, she argued while COVID-19 was a relatively new virus, early studies supported the view using tobacco products not only increased the risk of catching it, but also put people at risk of contracting a more serious form of it, which again is BS. I think we should call her BS Dlamini. The Fair Trade Independent Tobacco Association, or FITA, served the government with court papers in early May to challenge the ban. After Dlamini Zuma filled responding papers, FITA claimed, according to its count, there were 1,535 public submissions, of which 47.2% had nothing to do with cigarettes. 23.3% were in favor of the ban being lifted, and 29.6% wanted the ban to remain. Think about it. This woman is a crook. The DA filed a complaint against her at Parliament's Ethics Committee in this regard. This past weekend, it has been reported about Dlamini Zuma's affidavit that was recently lodged in another case, the one brought by British American Tobacco South Africa and other tobacco groupings to have the ban undone. She had also found the information available when she defended the tobacco ban during an oral question session in a virtual sitting of the National Assembly. Misleading Parliament is a violation of the Code of Ethical Conduct and disclosure of members' interests for Assembly and Permanent Council members. Well, there's no ethical conduct amongst the ANC. They're a bunch of gangsters. When will people start realizing that? I don't know why they even refer to the word ethical. In February 2018, Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane found Lim Brown, then Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, had inadvertently misled Parliament in a written reply to a parliamentary question from December 2016 about whether Eskom had paid money to Trillium. Parliamentary questions are considered an essential mechanism to hold ministers to account. The DA has in the past also complained about Dlamini Zuma not responding to questions, using the unavailability of the requested information as an excuse. Dlamini Zuma, who plays a key role in the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, has used this excuse in response to several questions posed to her, which has been published since Thursday. In some cases, she refers a member who asks a question to another department. In one case, DAMP in the National Council of Provinces, Mlindi Nlanhla, managed to elicit more than the standard response. He asked whether ministers are allowed to change any lockdown regulations if it affects their department. Dlamini Zuma's full answer read, "The Disaster Management Act empowers the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, after consulting the Cabinet, to make regulations or issue directions or authorize the issue of directions. The position of relevant details will be submitted to the Honourable Member as soon as they are compiled. Thank you." It's just quite extraordinary. No wonder South Africa has already gone down the gurgler. It's not going down the gurgler, it's actually in the drain pipe, going to nowhere. What do you expect with people like Dlamini Zuma running the country? All right, guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.